me tell you a little bit of something about me. I'm 42 years old. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. If you just read anything in the newspaper, St. Louis City is ranked #1 in crime and violence. It's always been ranked in the top 3. Well, you're looking at me, and I don't like to brag a lot. I try to stay humble, but yeah, I do have a PhD, and it's not an internet PhD. It's a PhD that was earned the traditional way. Also, I played college basketball. In high school, I averaged 25 points a game. I was all-state. I was the second leading scorer in the state of Missouri. I was very popular. I had everything going on for me, you would think. I want to tell you something about me. At 5 years old, I had a gun held to my head. A gun held to my mother's head, because my father at that time was the largest drug kingpin in St. Louis, Missouri, my family. At the age of 5, I also saw my father shooting heroin in his veins at 5. So I had a sense that, you know what, life isn't always good. At the age of 0 to 5, I saw my father beat my mother on a regular basis. Well, the theorists tell you that your personality is formed from 0 to 6. So everything that I've seen from 0 to 6, murder, 0 to 6, not even in kindergarten, tells you, guess what, young people? Doc, you're messed up. Doc, you don't have a choice. So I ended up, 0 to 6 already tells you that, you know what, I'm screwed up. And because of everything that I saw, 0 to 6, I went to public school, and I had so much trauma and pain in my life that, guess what, young people, I stopped talking. So what did the school try to do to me? They tried to label me special ed. But I had a great mother, and my mother said, well, I'm going to take him out of this public school, and I'm going to put him in an elite private school. I have no idea how she afforded it. They tested me again, and guess what? My test scores was off the roof, off the charts. Ended up being gifted. And I was able to test well because of one blonde-haired lady. I'll never forget this lady's name with blue eyes. Her name was Miss Karen. She came into the room and she hugged me and said, baby, guess what? You're smart. I want y'all to remember that. I'm going to give you something today, and remember, time me, it's going to be in 20 minutes or less, that if you apply these rules to your life, you will be successful. We had a murder recently that I want to commend Douglas County Police. 4 young men stumped 1 young man. 2 of them came through this program, but guess what? They never finished. Their lives are over. They're done. So what is happening here, this is real life, it's significant, and it's people, adults that are in this room today that are trying to put seeds into your life that they may grow. Here we go. You ready with this? Guess what, people? I was the largest drug dealer in the state of Missouri. I have the newspaper articles to prove that. My family was the largest drug kingpins in the Midwest. So you want to talk about trauma, drugs, and violence? I'm your expert. Basketball star, remember I told you that? Well, my left hand was cut off. Drugs, gangs. See, a lot of people don't believe that, but I have to show the young people sometimes. Guess what, folks? No basketball career. I'm left-handed. What caused me to stop selling drugs? What caused me to stop being a kingpin? Something happened. I came down to Atlanta, Georgia with $3,000 in my pocket running from the law. And as I sat in a room with $3,000 in my pocket, I came to this, and we're ready to get started right now, so put your seatbelts on and get ready. Young people, parents, some of you need words of life also. There are no accidents or mistakes. Do you really know why there are no accidents or mistakes? I'm sorry, and I'm going to apologize to you today. I'm sorry. It's my fault, and it's Deputy Chief's fault, and it's your parents' fault. You know why? Because guess what? Here it is. I got to show it to you. You matter. Whether you accept it or not, young people, you matter. You matter. So after today, there's no more excuses for failure. So I said that I'm going to give you 12 things in order to make you successful in this great country, the greatest country in the world. But let me read this to you. Who am I? And this is the problem. This is why a lot of you are in here today. I am your constant companion. I am your greatest helper or heaviest burden. I will push you onward or drag you down to failure. I am completely at your command. Half the things you might just as well turn over to me, and I will be able to them quickly and correctly. I am easily managed. You must merely be firm with me. Show me exactly how you want something done, and after a few lessons, I will do it automatically. I am the servant of all great individuals, and the last of all failures at will. Those who are great, I have made great. Those who are failures, I have made failures. I am not a machine. Though I work with all precision of a machine, plus the intelligence of a human, you may run me for profit or run me for ruin. It makes no difference to me. Take me, train me, firm with me, and I will place the world at your feet. Be easy with me, and I will destroy you. Who am I? Who am I? I am habit. I am habit. You are here today because of some habits that you possess. Mama didn't bring you here. Daddy didn't bring you here. You're here because of your habits. And I'm looking at the eyes of some of you young people, Chief Sparks. The words are getting through. So let me give you these 12 steps to be successful. Chief Sparks, watch how easy this is. Play the socio-economic card. That's number one. Play the socio-economic card. What are you talking about, Ed? America, the greatest country in the world, loves winners. We love people to defy the odds. Who can defy odds more than you? America loves my success story, bringing myself up from selling drugs, working my way through school, getting a PhD, doing 12 hours in class time for 3 consecutive years and worked a full time. America loves that. And let me tell you how to play that socioeconomic card. When you have an interview, what do? I remember my first interview, Deputy Chief Sparks at the VA Medical Center. At that time, it was almost impossible to get in the VA Medical Center as a social worker. Well, they hired me and I turned them down 3 times and they kept calling back. And it was because of this. Chief Lloyd, this is my past. This is where I come from, but this is where I want to go. They saw that I had defied the odds. You have to defy the odds. So use what you have experienced in your life, the trauma, use it for your benefit. Number 2, victimitis. Victimitis. Nobody cares in this country that you don't have a father. Nobody cares that your daddy is a heroin addict, and I'm talking about me. Nobody cares that you are poor. Nobody cares that you can't read. Nobody cares. So as soon as you get over that nobody cares, and quit seeing yourself as the victim. See, as long as you see yourself as the victim, guess what? You will remain the victim. Number 3, young people, expect to do better than the world expects of you. Expect to live a bigger world than you see. You people fail because you have no vision. Son, I don't know what you want to be, but if you're around some people right now, if you're in a school right now and that school or that teacher is not telling you that you can be all that you can be, leave that school. Find you another school. Number 4, Chief Sparks, we moving. This is good, young people. Don't expect support from those who have not accomplished very much in their lives. I don't hang around losers. I don't allow losers to speak into my life. So a lot of you, I hate to say this, you're sitting here today not because of you. Half the people in the penitentiary today are not there because of themselves. They are there because they are guilty by association. Some of you are here today because you have been hanging around losers, and losers have been speaking into your life. And from losers speaking into your life, what do you get? Zero results. Pick some bigger and better people than you. Pick some people that are straight A students. Pick some people that are star athletes. Pick some people, number one, like your parents to talk to, instead of that person that's on the side that's smoking that weed with you. Because have you ever noticed, young people, nobody, when I sold dope, PCP, that's what it was, nobody, Deputy Chief Sparks, wanted to smoke dope alone. They want somebody to smoke dope with them. Think about that. What do you people do with these stupid rap artists that we have? And I know a lot of them, Deputy Chief Sports, because they call me about MOD, Ludacris. I have the pictures to prove that. T.I., all these people that you look up, I got pictures with them because they're impressed. But guess what? They come out with these stupid raps, and they this small. See, you and I have been from the streets. They this small, and I look at T.I., and he's right here, y'all. T.I.'s this small. And I'm looking at T.I., and I called my wife back there. I said, this is the guy that's doing all of these gangster lyrics, and it's supposed to be so tough. Baby, I'm looking at the top of his head. He couldn't walk in the streets of St. Louis, Missouri. But I'm looking at these guys and they coming up with all of this stuff. Yeah, right. No, it's not true. Okay? Number 5. If someone is bringing out the most self-destructive tendencies in you, acknowledge that that person is not your friend. See, Deputy Chief Sparks, those 4 guys whose lives are no more, if they would have realized that the 2 guys that came through this program, see, I really take onus on the 2 guys that came through this program because they got words of life instilled in them. So it was no excuse for what they did. But guess what? They should have had enough sense to realize that the other 2 guys that said something so stupid that the next person that walks by, I'm going to stomp, he should have been running away. He should have been running away. And see, that's the problem with a lot of you young people. You are too afraid. You don't want to be labeled a punk. You don't want to be labeled a sissy because you are afraid of the doggone peer pressure. Well, the peer pressure is killing you. The peer pressure was killing me. The peer pressure had me facing 30 years in the Missouri State Penitentiary. Peer pressure. You better run. You better get you some new friends. You better find your church home. You better start hanging out with your parents. If you don't want to hang out with your parents, call me. But you better hang out with some people that are going to speak life into you. Amen. That leads right into number 6. Don't be too proud to ask for help. Amen. Listen to this, though. This is the problem. This is the disconnect that's going on, parents, right now. Particularly from those that are wiser and older. See, there is wisdom in the counsel of the godly. Old men dream dreams and young men see visions. See, young people, how this thing is supposed to work, you're supposed to go to that gentleman right there, or that woman right there, or deputy chiefs right there, and they are supposed to tell you the dreams that they are having. And you are supposed to take those dreams and internalize them and turn them into fruition, into a vision. See, with a vision, you have to be up. When you're dreaming, you're sleeping. That's why it tells young people, enjoy your youth. Because guess what? You, son, are more powerful than me. At 42, you can climb Mount Everest. Amen. I can't do it. Young women, you can climb Mount Everest. But the problem is, parents, that we have, the problem that we have in schools today, the problem that we're losing children today, that we're spending millions of dollars in new pedagogy. And I just sent the email to the Gates Foundation today saying that, you know what, you're wasting millions of dollars. That all we have to do is sit right here and look this kid in his eye and tell him, guess what? I believe in you. And I have to tell you that every day. That's educational reform for you young people, and that's free. That's free. Yeah. Number 7, we're almost done. Don't believe the stereotype. You can relate. Selling drugs, gang banging, and when you sell drugs at the level that we sold drugs, and I should have brought the newspaper articles, $30,000 a day, walking around with suitcases of millions of dollars, I always had to watch my back. Millions of dollars that I could not spend. Walking on the streets, sometimes I don't know if my friend is with me or not, or does he want to knock me over the head to take this suitcase of money that I'm transporting to another safe house. It's not glamorous. These rappers that you guys love, and I'm getting back to that again because I got a thing with rappers. I don't really like rappers because most of the rappers are just not tough. Most of the rappers, for the kid that we came up with the Ice Cube thing. Don't you know that Ice Cube was brought up in a middle-class family with a mama and a daddy? Don't you know that Eazy-E came up in a middle-class home with a mama and a daddy? Don't you know that Ludacris that walks around with his pants hanging around, mother is highly educated and so is his daddy? Don't you know that Ludacris went to Georgia State? Don't you know that none of the stuff is true? It is all just for the show. But the show is killing our kids. See, I don't have a problem, Deputy Chief Sparks, for them coming up with the gang lyrics, because when we had rap coming up, it was positive. We had songs like Stop the Violence, but now we have songs like Kill or Be Killed, Shoot and Be Shoot, calling our women whores and sluts. And let me tell you something, young women, that is not who you are. But why in the world do we pay our money? Why do we buy CDs that degrade our women? I'm almost done. I'm sorry, Deputy Chief, the spirit took over right there. Don't let the glitter and the bling blind you. People, money, a guy that I'm going to bring into contact with Deputy Chief Sparks because I'm so impressed with Douglas County, my city, and Douglas County Police Department, a shout out to them. Kevin Selwyn is a friend of mine, and Kevin Selwyn came to the realization that he had an epiphany. His 14-year-old girl saw a homeless man on the side of the street, and a Benz came up on the side of the homeless man in his car right there. And the young girl, 14, see, young people, don't tell me what young people can't do, because the word of the Lord say that a child shall lead them. Well, that young girl stood up and she had a moral outrage. She said, Daddy, if that guy in the Mercedes-Benz would sell his Mercedes-Benz or half of it, then that homeless man would have a place to stay. Well, you got to meet Hannah. We're going to bring Hannah to talk to these kids. Hannah went home and wouldn't let it go. So out of outrage, the mother says, well, what do you want us to do, Hannah? Do you want us to sell our home? Guess what the 14-year-old said? Yes. Because I want to make a difference in my community. So what they did, they sold their home and gave away $860,000 to a village in Ghana, all because a 14-year-old girl wanted to make a difference. Well, this family is well off, but after they gave the $860,000 away, guess what happened? They said, you know what? Our family got closer together. We started communicating more when we went to the, and they came to the realization that all of this stuff that we had, the glitter that you guys like, the jeans, the Sean John, it doesn't mean anything. Listen to this, because you need to know how to play this, young people. Don't expect competence and hard work alone to get you the recognition or the rewards that you deserve in this country. Yes, you should work hard, but in order to move ahead, see, getting that PhD is going to open up some doors for you. But the PhD and the hard work is just not enough. And where you people make your mistakes is that you don't know how to form relationships and partnerships. See, there's a scripture in the Bible that said your gifts will make room for themselves and bring you before great men. See, your objective is to get in contact with the great men. And in order to get in contact with the great men, make your gift a skill and form relationships with those great men. And those great men will then see your work and put you in the place where you're supposed to be. So form relationships with successful people. Amen. Number 10, you must seize the time, for it is already later than you think. That clock never stops. That's right. Don't be 20 saying, I'm going back to school. Because then you're going to be 25 saying, I'm going back to school. 25 is going to turn to 30, I'm going back to school. 30 is going to turn into 40, I'm going back to school. So what I'm trying to tell you now, whatever you want to do, start trying to do it now. We're almost done. That was 10. All right. This is important. Even if you fake it, show some faith. Even if you fake it, show some faith in yourself. This is not just to children. But this is to the human race, to adults. Most people fail because deep down inside, they don't believe in themselves. And it's the fear factor that impedes us from going to the places that the Father wants us to go. So what I'm trying to tell you, you need to start speaking. And I don't know why I'm keep pointing to you, but you need to start speaking to yourself, because there's something else that says, greater he that is in you, that is he that is in the world. There's another scripture that says, so a man thinketh, so is he. So if you think that you are great, start speaking it. It may take 10 years to materialize, but you need to start speaking. I am blessed. I am highly favored, that I'm going to college. Don't know how I'm getting there, but I'm going to college. I'm going to get a job. Don't know how I'm going to get a job in a depressed economy, but I'm going to get a job because I believe I'm going to get a job. I believe that I'm the best student at Douglas County High School. I believe I'm the best student at Chapel Hills High School. I believe that I'm a virtuous young woman. Despite what people want to say about me, it's what you believe. Now this is last, and parents, this is for you too. See, this is how we're going to break this cycle. The recidivism of you coming back. The recidivism of your children coming back here. Don't force innocent others to bear the price of your pain. Watch out here. Come on. Come on. I was a victim. I could also be a victim and have the excuse that, you know what, because my dad, the last memory was drugs and guns to my head and going to the federal penitentiary, then I have an excuse to where I won't be a dad also. parents, because you may have had some problems in your life, that now that the guilt comes upon your life, that you see yourselves as an unfit parent, that I'm telling you to break that cycle, that was yesterday and today is today. And for our kids, I'm asking for the relationships to be restored. See, people, what you kids need to realize, that if you fail today, if you fail today, I want you to write this down. What's the date? May 26th. If you fail today, and I'm going to look at you in your eyes, yeah, it happened. It happened. If you fail today, if you fail today, and you, big guy, it's your fault. Because today, what I have seen, and I love people when they start talking about racism and this and all of that, I don't feed into that type of crap. Because if they pan this camera, what I see today is a community of white, black, red, green, and white, yellow, coming together to save our children. So if you fail, guess what? It's on you. And this is harsh, Chief Sparks. I've never been a punk in my whole life. Always been, I've been fearless. You forgot, had a gun held to my head at 5. Missed death on 3 occasions. But in college basketball, we played at a preseason at a prison in Missouri called El Gore Prison Penitentiary. And when you go to a prison basketball team, you go through the search and all of this and that, and you go through those doors, Deputy Chief Sparks, and I'm thinking they're going to escort us. You know, at that time, I'm just a freshman, and the seniors knew what was going to happen. I didn't know. Those doors shut, and they said, you have to walk through the yard unescorted. I'm a tough guy from St. Louis, Missouri. I started looking around. Still a little tough, but I'm not as tough now. Got into the gymnasium, jam-packed. One guard, thousands of prisoners, and just my basketball team. Now I'm not tough. Because what I'm seeing, and I'm going somewhere with this, men braiding other men's hair. I could also see how some of the men were considered the females. I could also see that when I'm taking the ball out, that people are tugging at my leg saying, you better not come in here. I can also see, can you bring me some weed? And I was so disturbed that I said, you know what? I'm not that tough. But I remember the words that my uncle told me that brought PCP to the Midwest. Ed, if you're going to get into this game, and if you go to the penitentiary, and you know what I'm talking about, that you're going to stand on your own. You're not going up here on your family's name. You got to stand on your own. So what I ask you people today, if any of you boys or any of you girls that end up like that 4, and that was great police work, by the way, end up in the federal penitentiary, today you will never forget this day, because you had the chance today to start new, because you had an entire community loving you, caring for you, saying whatever you need, I'm going to give it to you. So that's why I told you, remember today. Because if you go down for 25, 30 years, Chief Sparks, they're going to remember this day. I love you, and I do not want to see you in this place again. Thank you.